clue who they are. So,
I had a guy over one time, he inherited all these photos. And his family was from this area, so I told him to get a hold of Fraser and send everything to him.
we're good? Okay. Good morning,
Scott.
everyone. It is 9:32, and I would like to call the meeting to order. We have with us today most of council. Councillor Boulanger is away today, and Councillor Horvis will be joining us just in a little while. And we also have our CAO, Deepak Joshi, and our assistant, Heather Stanton. So with that, I would like to have the resolution for the adoption of the agenda, please.
Resolve the agenda for the meeting be adopted and circulated with the noted additions.
Moved by Councillor Gazarovich, second Councillor Sutherland. Any discussion? I do have one addition that I would like to add on, and that is a review, I guess, of council indemnity bylaw. And I would like that to be in camera, please. Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Can I also add on Nicholas Drive, if we can have an update if Tyler's around, if possible?
I believe Tyler is coming in this afternoon,
This
but we are in camera
Okay.
for that.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anybody else? Councillor Spicer.
Part of my library report will need to be in camera.
Okay.
I don't know if you need to add it. I don't know.
I'm not sure if we need to add that or not, because it'll be part of your committee report that you'll just want to discuss in camera. So, anybody else have anything? I have a mover, I have a seconder, and if there's nothing else, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. The next item on our agenda is confirmation of the minutes, and we have one set of minutes from August the 24th, and if I could have the resolution, please.
Resolve the minutes of August 24th, 2021 regular meeting of council be adopted as presented.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Spicer, second Councillor Gazarovich. Any discussion or any corrections, or go ahead, Councillor Strang.
Just in my report, it says trails on there, and I'm tourism.
Tourism,
Yeah,
okay, if you
instead of
could just
trails.
make that amendment. Anybody else have anything? Okay, have a mover, have a seconder. If there are no other corrections or comments, I will call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? And that is carried. Okay, so that takes us down to number 4 on our agenda, and that is the Interlake Arts Board, and Joan English is here with us this morning. And I'll let her explain, but unfortunately she's on her own today. So, Joan, if you just want to come and sit at the table there, you might be, no, that's fine. As long as you have double vax,
Yes,
you're
I do.
fine.
Yeah. Okay, perfect.
So I'm Joni English with the Interlake Art Board, and thank you ever so much for inviting me to come. And I apologize for my other 2 artist friends that were going to join us, but the warm weather like this, they've got to move. It's like farmers, you know, when they've got that weather out there, they got to get it done. So,
Joan, you can have a seat if you like.
okay.
Yeah, a little more comfortable for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So basically what I'm here is, and I want to thank Sandra, she approached us and asked if there would be an opportunity of exploring undertaking murals in the RMS St. Clements. And we said certainly, we're the Interlake Art Board, and basically what happened with the Interlake Art Board, we started in 2013 to be a working liaison to help with the Interlake Juried Art Show. And that's how the initial start was. Then we thought that it would be really great to get in the murals. I'm actually from Vancouver Island as part of my raising, and so I'm very used to Chemainus and what that could add to a community. And I thought, it would be just marvelous we could add that type of feature. So with that, in 2017, got our first break and got a grant from the provincial government. And since then, we've been doing grants and fundraising, and I think we've got probably about 14 murals that we've looked at undertaking. Our murals, we have Charlie Johnston as our mural cure coordinator, is his classification. So he assists and supports us with the murals. If he doesn't actually undertake the actual mural himself, He'll work with the artist that comes on board, because we're also looking, we had Mr. Saint Hilaire come and do the one on Roxy's. So that wants to bring a variety of different artists in our community. But one of the things we strive for is that we keep the artwork at a very high professional level. And with that, that of course we pay professional rates for our artists, as well as we obtain professional material, which the Nova paints, which are colors, we actually get them out of California, because they're a special mixed blend with that almost becomes a polymerifer, I think how Charlie describes it, and it's good lasting for a minimum of 20 years once it's on board for that. So and that's really basically what we're looking at. So with that, I guess we were approached, and we have the Legacy Park here. There's a wall there, 14, I think it is, by 40. And we're looking at having a mural for that location, if it's, you know, accepted by your group here. The cost is going to be anywhere up to $15,000 for that cost. It's similar to the size that we did at the Rocks on the Roxy's parking lot, the car show and shine. That's pretty similar to the sizing. That was, I think, the 12 by 40, and this one's 14, and then you've got your peak area that we'll look at in closing, except for not the vent area at the very top of that. With that, the Interlake Art Board is pleased to be able to say that we have $7,000 that we will bring forward to the table for you for this project. And that is, we've obtained that from grant writing, so we've got one of the grants was Red River Mutual, Spruce Up Your Community grant. So we were awarded that. We were 10 out of 240, I guess, to get that award. So we're putting money out of that as well as from one of our Manitoba Arts Council grants. So that's how we're coming forward with that monies. So with that, I guess the balance of that would be, you know, up to your, or that's in your ballpark. But I just wanted to let you know that the Friendship Center, the large one we did at the Friendship Center, that's got the heating path on it, right opposite Roxy's. It's quite a large one. They went to Selkirk and District Community Foundation, and they got a grant for that. And the Endangered Species Mural project that we're just undertaking right now, that was also supported by the Selkirk and District Community Foundation. So it meets their levels of requirement for funding. So the average grant from them that we've received so far is $5,000 and $7,000. So that gives you a ballpark of where you would be that you could apply for funding for that. And so that's, you know, with the mural, the individual artists, we're looking at the two artists that actually really worked with Charlie on the Car Show and Shine was Ashley Christensen. She's a Tower. She lives in East Selkirk, and Sierra Anderson, she lives in East Selkirk as well. And they were the main mentors, I guess, working with Charlie on the Car Show and Shine. But we'll have up to five artists in total working in that area, because that's part of our thing is that we do training. So, and you guys would decide what you're looking for, what your theme would be, and how you want to, you need a title, you know. I kind of call it snapshot, just to give it a title to start with, because it'll be, I thought, possibly a snapshot of your community to start with initially, you know, or you can isolate it into different themes or areas. So that's all I can tell you. I'm open for questions. So.
Yeah, I think probably there are some questions, Joni, so I'm going to open it up, and if somebody wants to start, anybody? Questions, comments?
Well, just
Go ahead.
I know Brenna, our rec manager, has also, we've been discussing this, and one of the things we were going to, and I think we sent it in an email to Joni also, but we are going to apply through the Selkirk Foundation.
Okay.
I don't know, Brenna's here today.
Yeah, she is, yeah, so. Okay, yeah, and I guess, you know, I know some of the murals, and I know the one that you spoke of on Manitoba Avenue. I was there when they unveiled it, and it's a very, very, absolutely beautiful, beautiful mural. Yeah, that one is awesome. Well, they're all awesome, but that one really kind of, you know, it kind of jumps out at you. So I guess my question would be, when we're looking at places or buildings to put murals on, are we limited as to where we could put them? Because right now, you know, they're working on the Lockport Bridge, and we're trying to do some work on our side of the river and kind of make it a more user-friendly, and some walking paths and a sidewalk in that area. Would it be feasible, or would you consider doing a mural in the Lockport area if we could find a place for one? Or are you kind of limited to East Selkirk? And
No, we're limited to anywhere in the Interlake, so
Okay.
it makes absolutely no difference. I guess basically we just have to make sure that the murals that we're undertaking right now, that we're talking about, we're doing 2 over the winter. One's called The Beat Goes On in Selkirk, and that'll be going on to Hart's Flooring Wall.
Okay.
And the other one is your Legacy Park. We do them inside at the Selkirk Community Church in Selkirk, and they're painted on panels, and then we install them in the spring. And that way we have our artists working. And the one that is opposite that you're talking about, Roxy's, that was an all panel mural. Yeah, and the car show in Shine
Yeah.
is a panel mural as well.
Okay.
Yeah, so that allows our artists to continue with their training and developing. And we're just lucky that the training ends up that we have beautiful murals in the end.
Yes.
That's what we're very fortunate. And then we say we got to find a home for these murals.
Right. The endangered species one, where's that one going?
It's already 90% of it's up. It's in the Pocket Park right opposite Roxy's. And that is, we did actually a 2-dimensional, well, we did 2 pieces that are 3-dimensional aspects on that.
Oh, okay.
And Jan Dorian, she lives in St. Clements. She's one of the ones who's done the metal aspect of that. So that's another element we're bringing forward to include more artists and to give a different aspect for tourism, so people can come and see what you can possibly create. It doesn't necessarily just have to be, which they're done as well beautifully, just painted them well, but what else can we offer out to the communities? And yeah, there's a falcon that they just installed in there. It's quite amazing what
Have to have a look.
yeah, it's quite, and Jan Dorian, I'm meeting with her actually right after this at the church to get the scaffold, so they're going to be putting up her pieces. And it'll have actually, it's a moccasin slipper, and the bowl of 3 of the moccasin slippers will be in glass with enamel painting. So, very different, very different. So, the sky's the limit.
Yeah, and the reason I asked about, you know, where if we have another spot that we could consider about putting a mural is, as you know, our municipality is quite big, and I'm thinking of, you know, even Patricia Beach has a community hall. They may be interested in having something on one of their walls. We have Grand Marais in our municipality, and there's a number of buildings there, so there may be somebody that we might be able to entice into putting a mural on their wall, just to kind of spruce up the community, if nothing else, like, you know, and to educate people of, I know, I guess I did a bit of a presentation last night, and I talked about the early days in Grand Marais when it was a booming town, and you know, to have a mural that would have some of the stuff on there, I think that would be really awesome. So that's something that we can talk about here, but if the Interlake Art Board is willing to go out of kind of this little area, then that would be great.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
and this is Councillor Corbis, that's Joni English, and she's with the Interlake Arts Board,
Nice to
and we're
meet you.
talking about murals.
Nice to meet you. Sorry I'm late.
That's okay.
So anybody else have any questions or comments? Go ahead, Sandra.
Just the process. So Charlie will come and meet with council, or like just that you said that we choose what goes on the mural,
Yeah.
or like how that works?
It's up to the individuals. Basically, you've got skin in the game. So with that, and we want you to produce what references your community, if that's what you're looking at, doing a reference to your communities. By all means, that you would be definitely the player in coming forward. So when we did the car show in China, the Morgoshes, which I believe are from your St. Clements
Yes,
areas
they
as
are,
well.
yeah.
They brought pictures and developed that whole design with Charlie, and drove them a bit crazy at times because they were taking me on and adding, but ended up with a really good, really nice feature. So those are the things that he would want, snapshots and things of what you're looking at presenting. So there's a couple of different murals too you can look at for the future for your area, I guess. It's the commemorative murals. One of the ones we're looking at doing in 2023 is it's the 150th year for the RCMP. So we're making application to apply for a mural to undertake that. And with that, that commemorative has to basically have some area of what it associates with your community, but the Lower Fort Garry was the first training spot 150 years ago for, I think it's called the Northwest Mountain
Yeah, Northwest
Mounted Police, I believe is what it was. And they're actually, their uniforms were blue to start with. That's all I can tell you. So Elder Ruth Christie will be working on that.
Nice.
Developing that, because she worked as a historian also at Lower Fort Garry, and somebody in her family is RCMP as well. Mary Thorne is from your area. Mary Thorne is our vice president, and she was an RCMP, so she'll be working on that as well. So that's kind of, so if you've got anything of a person that you wanted to highlight that can be, there's all these different grant aspects you can look at applying for, and then that's what we do, is we write these grants, and I don't get upset anymore when we don't get excited because, get them because I've had so many, like, oh, well, next one, but hey, we're doing good. Yeah.
Good. So any other questions? Deepak, do you have anything? You're good there. Anybody else have anything?
Just a comment.
Go ahead.
I was surprised about the panels. I always thought you were on them.
Yeah, I was, when I first started, I was shocked that, this was just opening the doors to me of different type of art skills and the way they handle it. But the other thing about the panels too is you can take them down and move them. The one that's on Darewood Press, there's kind of, that has to be moved. Apparently the building, I don't know if people know that or not, but it's been sold and it's going to be funded. Apparently, that's what I was told.
So then you just take that mural
And put it
and
somewhere
put it
else.
someplace else. Well, you know what, that's probably a good thing, because then you're not losing it. Like if it was painted on the building, it would be gone.
And they cost a lot of money. So
Yeah.
with that, we'll be now, so Mary said, yeah, we're going to be looking for a home for that one. So
Yeah.
that could be in maybe a spot that you can have in St. Clements.
That's a nice mural, I like that one.
Yeah, it's just kind of fun, funky a little bit,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
So that's actually one of three. There's one that matches that Charlie did in China. The other one's in Newfoundland.
oh, wow.
It's one of three.
Wow. Well, if there are no other questions or comments from council, I'd like to thank you very much for coming in, Joni. I think we all got a little bit more information and a little bit more knowledge on how the murals work. So we'll probably be having some discussions, and I know we're definitely looking at the one for Legacy Park. And, we'll kind of look around and maybe we can come up with a couple of other spots that we may want to consider for putting up a mural, so.
Sure, and the only thing I'll let you know about the Legacy Park, it's a great wall on that. But
Yeah.
with the type of corrugated metal that you
Right.
have on, we will either have to cover that with a 1/2-inch pressure treated plywood and then put our panels on, or remove panel and then put our paneling on. That's the only drawback that we have with that type of panel.
Right.
So when we did the Healing Path, the big one you were talking
Yes.
about, now we had to remove all that metal sheet
Okay.
paneling and then put our paneling up on top of there. So that's,
Good to know, so, yeah.
Madam Mayor,
Go ahead,
I do have a question now.
go ahead.
Where you're looking to place it, we may need to double check as to, now that you brought up plywood, as to fire rating. Because what we have is an expansion of our water treatment plant. So the buildings are going to be very close to each other now, and that spatial distance may become an issue for it being appropriately fire rated, so plywood may become
Okay,
of that wall, so we'll have to take a look at that.
sure. So what you can do is take down the existing and then put up what the panels we have, and I believe they're a dye bond paneling that's, so it's, the panels themselves are called dye bond, I believe, but I'll get Charlie really to quote. And there's also an aluminum panel you can use, but extremely expensive. And aluminum's even gone up even higher right now in cost.
There's a cement board as well.
So as long as we can paint on it that's smooth enough and we can put it up outdoors, that's not a problem for us. They seem to be able to adapt. Heavy stuck real sometimes the problem, you know.
I'll verify with Red River
Yeah,
Planning as to
sure.
maybe
Yep.
permitting issues related with that.
That'd be great. We'll be starting your project, we'll be starting with the meat goes on probably initially to start with in November. We've got the church rented from November right through to March. Your project, I believe, is starting, you know, if you go forward with that, we're looking at in January, they'll want to start working on it, so you'd have to have the design elements. You'll have to make a decision and give us the design elements by then so that they can start working on that project as well. So, and Selkirk Renewal came forward and just got a grant for $2,000 to look after the rent, part of the rent, so, which is nice. So, it's coming together.
It's nice to have a deadline.
Yes, exactly, exactly. Well, thank you again for coming in, and I'm sure that we'll have further discussion, and hopefully Charlie will be able to give us some more information, and we'll move forward from there.
Yes, absolutely. So just let us know and we'll be
Yeah.
happy to fill in whatever we can for you.
Perfect, thank you so
Thank
much
you.
for
It's been a
coming.
pleasure.
Have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you,
Thank
nice to meet you.
Okay, I guess I have a question now before we move on further. Maybe I should ask it before I forget. If those buildings are going to be so close together, are we going to lose sight of the mural?
I don't think we would. It's just that there's a spatial separation required between two buildings.
Right.
And we know that at least from the last conversation I had with the project team, that it's steel construction and steel framing around the recreation building, so it shouldn't create an issue. That's why hearing about wood paneling might become an issue. I'll take a look at the design and see if there's any issues related with the building and the sight lines.
Okay, thank you for that.
Did we get a grant for this? She says there's grants for these signs. Did we get one? Or?
We just have to put one more in
Oh,
and we were gonna do it through the Selkirk Foundation. Otherwise, she's been working on grants for us.
okay.
Yeah.
So if we don't get the grant, we're not doing the mural.
Well, she already has a grant. She said the total cost of the mural is about $15K,
Yeah.
and she's already got a grant for $7. So,
So if we don't get another grant, we gotta come up with
but I'm sure that Brenna is working on a grant somewhere along the way.
Well, we've discussed, because right now the Selkirk Foundation one is just opening
Yes.
up for September.
Right, for the fall intake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going on at, on the arena?
No, on the back side of the white building there and we're gonna label it Legacy Park.
So
Well, that's not even close to the water treatment plant.
No, like now I'm a
Yeah.
little confused, because if it's going on the,
Yeah,
by
It's
the
going,
baseball diamond on
Yeah.
that building,
it's gonna be facing this direction, so everybody will see it.
this direction.
Yeah.
So Deepak, I don't believe it will have an impact on the water treatment plant, because it's not going on the rec center, it's going on the restaurant part by Legacy Park.
Okay.
So I think we should be okay.
I was gonna ask later about the construction, if there was signs up this.
For the treatment plant, I think there are,
There are some sites up already.
Okay.
yeah, so. Okay, so if we want to move on our agenda, we'll do a few more items here and then we'll take a short break. So, whoever didn't hand their sheets into Heather, if do that, and I didn't hand mine in.
Okay, I'll leave it like that.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on our agenda, we're down to number 5, communications for action. And the first item is the Manitoba Association of Regional Recyclers. And there's a recycling and waste reduction forum on November 2nd and 3rd. And I believe Deepak has maybe a comment on it. I think it's up on the screen there.
Basically, it's regarding the recycling event that they're having, and it's going to be in person. And we're just looking to see which council members are willing to go to this event.
Okay, so any discussion? Heather, how many have you got that are wanting to attend this one?
I haven't handed my thing in yet, but I'll
Oh.
probably go.
Okay,
So Scott's been the 2 days.
Scott and the 2 Davids, okay, so Deepak, if you want to read the resolution then?
Sure. Resolved, Mayor Feeble-Corn and Councillor Scott Spicer, Dave Porpoise, and Dave Sutherland be authorized to attend the 2021 MAR, Manitoba Community Recycling and Waste Reduction Forum in Winnipeg on November 2nd and 3rd, 2021.
Yeah, and I did say to Heather, I'm not sure if I'll go, but she said, oh, I should put my name in and then we can always just not pay my registration when it comes time if something comes up, so. Go ahead,
Just
Councilor
to add to
Sutherland.
that, I had a Zoom meeting the other day about this, and we're just wondering if it's going to happen. Depends on what happens with the conditions here in Manitoba. So they were going ahead with it, but that could change next week.
Right.
I myself thought that we shouldn't even have it, but a few other ones did.
Well, I think some of the associations are trying to get back to in-person meetings, but there's always rules and depending on what the province decides to do. And I know, I don't know which one it is, I can't quite remember, but if you were going to attend, you had to show proof of being double vaccinated and so on and so forth. So I think there's going to be a lot more of that going on. And I know for one of the committees I sit on, I had to actually sign a consent form that yes, I was double vaxxed, and when I go to the first meeting, I have to show my card and everything, so.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a new way of doing things.
And what we're,
Go ahead, Dave.
what we're looking at is how many people are actually going to attend.
Right,
So they're kind of trying to pull things early to find out, because
right,
you know, if they put all this on and a lot of people don't attend because of what's going on. So as soon as Mike has some kind of an idea of how many people actually are going to attend,
yeah,
that depends on whether they're going to go through with it.
right. Well,
Anyway,
I think the other thing that's happening is some events are being limited, like to maybe 2 or 3 members of a council, rather than, 7 of us going.
yeah,
They may limit it to 2 or 3 members, so, and that would work too, I think, in most cases. So, go ahead, Councillor Spicer.
Well, I'm pretty sure last year it was all done on Zoom, right?
we had webinars.
Yeah, and they were excellent.
They
So if it's a fallback to that. it
were
was
very
fine.
successful, and that was brought up at our meeting.
Yeah,
And I, for one, suggested for this year, we should have, it'll be 5 webinars if it does happen.
yeah,
So,
like they did a real good job, I thought, on them, so.
Yeah.
If that's the fallback, then fine.
well, I would prefer to see the webinars 5 of them this year, but that's,
Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
If it falls back and we do the webinars, can we change and
Yeah.
do?
Yeah, because then probably what we'll do, well, I think, I think the other ones, we were able to do them from home, because I don't know if there was much of a cost, but I know we always, and I mean, there's one coming up here for, I think it's the Sustainable Communities Conference. Again, they're, charging quite a bit for a virtual conference. So again, do we want to just have one registration and come here to watch whatever we want to watch kind of thing? And I know we've done that before and it's worked well. So those that want to be here can be here. And if you don't want to be here all day, you look at the agenda and see what time your specific topic that you're interested in is on, and then just come for them. So anyways, I think we read the resolution, but I'm not sure if I have a mover and a seconder, Heather? Okay. Okay, so for the MAR conference, if I could have a mover, please. Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Strang seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Opposed? Carried. 5.2, Federation of Canadian Municipalities, and that's one I just mentioned, the Sustainable Communities Conference. I'm kind of sad that, it's not going to be in person, because the last one we were supposed to have was supposed to be in St. John's, Newfoundland, so that would have been kind of a good trip, but I don't think anybody would be traveling at this point in time in any event, so. Have you got a resolution for that one, please? Or do we just want to buy one membership or one registration and come here? Go ahead, Councillor Strang.
I didn't even think of that, and I know we have done that in previous, and I put down no just because of the price of it being like a webinar and it's $250 per person, so that turned me on, even though they're excellent information sessions,
But that wouldn't be a bad idea, 250, and then if we could come
yes,
here.
yeah.
That would be okay. Right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yeah. Then I'll put no online
Yeah.
too. But I would change my mind if I could.
So can we
Councillor
word the resolution so that we purchase like one, or just put one name in there and then have it here?
Why don't we just put the mayor's name in
Okay,
and move it forward that way?
perfect.
Okay. Resolved, Mayor Feeble-Corn be authorized to attend the 2021 Sustainable Communities Virtual Conference on October 19th, 2021, or October 19th to the 21st in 2021.
Okay, can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Strang seconds, discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and carried. Okay, AMM, invitation for the general meeting, and I believe that's the one that we are going to be hosting.
You got
I think.
RHA first.
Yeah,
Oh.
Eastern,
Okay, I'm reading them the wrong way, sorry about that. 5.3, the Interlake Eastern RHA, that is the general meeting, and that is open to anybody who wishes to participate, and it is virtual, so if we have a resolution, I'll ask Deepak to please read it.
Resolved, Mayor Feeble-Corn and council be authorized to attend the virtual RHA Annual Board General Meeting on Monday, October 4th, 2021.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Horbis, Councillor Sutherland seconds, discussion. Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, carried. Okay, 5.4, that is the ARM meeting, and I believe that is the one that we are going to be hosting.
Correct, Madam Mayor, and the discussion on this was that we've agreed to continue to host the event that was canceled from last year, and from last year, and there were two things that we wanted to bring up for attention of council. One was a discussion around who the guest speaker could be that could be related with the event at this time of the year, as well as we are still waiting to talk to Councilor Belanger about utilizing of the same location as we did last year, as our intent was last year.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up, but the comment that I was going to make is when we were going to host it, and I believe it was an April meeting, we were going to have Peggy Atchison from Debwood the wetland trails. Deepak and I kind of talked about that, and I said, you know, this maybe is not the right time of the year to have her because we're getting into winter rather than, I would sooner have her at a meeting in the spring where people can go out there and actually see the orchids and go for a walk on the trail and that. So I'm going to open it up. If anybody can think of anybody or any topic that we could maybe find a speaker. I guess somewhere along the way I had read, I believe it was in one of the emails, that perhaps somebody talking about, you know, the effects that COVID has had on people and how people are dealing with it, kind of a, I don't know what you would call it, kind of a mental health person who could give us some insight onto, you know, how to deal with how we feel about COVID and masks and all these other things. With everything that's going on all over this country, I don't know which way to go. So go ahead, Sandra.
I was gonna say Dr. Roofson.
I don't think we get that lucky.
Maybe we can get college degrees,
Well,
what does he know?
So give us his take on COVID.
So I don't know, if you want to think about it kind of throughout the day today, maybe we can come back to it a little bit later, but we are hosting it, and I think even at one point in time, they thought that maybe there would be a limit on the number of people, but I think because they're not serving alcohol, it's open to everybody now.
Correct.
And because they're not serving alcohol, you don't have to be double vaccinated to attend.
Well, you still did.
That is not the way I understood it.
So in our, this is ours. You would have to be double vaccinated to come to the.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, I'm not kind of for that. I think we should have to be double vaccinated.
Double vax, but then you just wear your mask if you get up and wander around, but yeah, I'm not sure. I thought at all events you had to be double vax, that you attend with a group.
It has
Unless
something
it's
to do with
outdoors.
the alcohol.
Oh.
Well, I thought they had wine there on the tables and that.
Yeah, but what we're saying is if we want everybody to attend, we can't have any alcohol.
So you're saying choose between everybody and booze?
Go ahead, Deepak.
Just
So
so
hard
it's clear,
choice.
Yeah.
just so it's clear, we're hosting the event, but ARM is making the rules as to the attendance.
Right.
And ARM has made the decision that they will not be requiring double vaccination to attend the event,
If there's no booze.
and that they will not be having any booze.
Yeah, there's-
They've made
Oh,
that
They
decision.
made that decision.
If there's no booze, there's no restrictions except for the number of people and masking.
Right.
Masking is when you're moving around
Yes.
at the table, no mask.
So no double vaccination. Is there lots of Mennonites on the road?
You have to be vaccinated.
Oh, that's being taped, sorry.
That's right, that's, yeah. Go ahead, Sandra.
Glenn, has the board had a discussion, like, did you guys have a meeting on this?
That's what I'm reading right
Okay.
now.
The other thing that, do we have to be social distanced if we aren't going to be double
I
vaxxed?
think you have to anyways. You have to
Because-
social distance, don't you, at all times?
I think if you're double vaxxed, I don't know.
I think the masking, what happened was, if you recall earlier this, or mid this summer, the province's health orders allowed for no requirement of masks or at entrances. So, but it didn't require that you needed to be double vaxxed. It was just based on the level of herd immunity at that point. So they were saying that no more masking was required. Then, as the fourth wave came in, they changed some of the things. The first thing they changed was, at first it was only double vaccination for attending any kind of eating establishments and so forth, and they changed it to now only double vaccination if you're eating inside at restaurants and so forth, because their alcohol is being served. But if it's no alcohol being served, they've allowed for any group numbers. So generally speaking, you always have to maintain a level of social distancing outside when you're sitting around a table and eating.
Just, we're gonna be the first group, us having the first meeting, we're gonna be the first example, so that's why I'm just asking all these.
It's-
Well, and I think.
We will double check all the
Yeah.
health orders as part of the event.
And they could change too as time gets
That's
closer.
right, like we may end up canceling the meeting if things change.
Yeah.
You know, it's 3 weeks away or almost 4 weeks away, so things could change and it could be canceled altogether. But what I was gonna say, I think if we, like I know that for a while there, the executive of ARM always wanted everybody to kind of mix and mingle and not just sit with your own council all the time. I think for this particular event, because we're all in this room together quite often, I think people should be sitting with their own councils and not mixing and mingling too much, because, I mean, we're all good here, but I don't know what some of the other members are, whether they're vaccinated or not vaccinated, so that might be something that the executive might want to consider, is rather than mixing and mingling, having councils sit together.
Have designated tables for, like, you know, RRM of how many come in.
Yeah.
There's your seating, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, go ahead, Councillor Sutherland.
So, we're hosting it, so we have no say in that, saying that everybody has to be double vaccinated, we don't have any say in that. I don't think that's right.
No, we're hosting it, but I believe the executive of ARM is.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
Deepak said,
yeah.
but I don't believe that.
But if they're taking all the responsibility,
What responsibility they're
well,
taking.
if we're
Something
making the
gets-
decisions, we're taking the responsibility.
Yeah,
If they're making the decisions, they are.
what is their responsibility if somebody gets COVID, but they've got no responsibility?
Well, it's
You wouldn't anywhere.
No, that's what I'm saying, but I'm just asking the question, because we are hosting it.
I think we should have a little more say.
a little more booze.
Well, just on COVID, yeah. I do think that. If we can't, we can't, but I disagree with that. They should be double vaccinated.
Okay,
Yeah.
anybody else?
I agree.
And that might be something that may still come up. I mean, if another health order comes up saying that at, I'm gonna say it this way, public events or public meetings, that you have to be double vaxxed, then the rules could change, and that's something that the executive will have to look
This
at.
was based on the rules.
So go ahead, Deepak.
This decision was based on the rules and the discussions at ARM, from my understanding, is that they are concerned that it is an association of rural municipalities and that not to exclude municipalities for whatever decisions that may be made in those particular areas.
Well, and I think the onus has to be put on some of the elected officials too. Like, if you're not double vaxxed, perhaps you're the one that should be saying, I'm not going, rather than we say, you can't come.
Mhm.
You know, I think the onus has to go on the individuals also. And I get what you're saying, but I think the onus has to be a little bit on the individuals too. Like, I know I'm double vaxxed and there's places that I won't go because I just don't feel comfortable. And I think we're all like that. So, anyways, so we're just kind of looking to think of who we might want for a speaker, so.
So we'll come back to this item later.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one we have is 5.5, and that's Holiday Alley, and that's a think tank that they're putting together, and I guess it is an open event. And if anybody has any thoughts or ideas on what they should be doing or how they should be doing it, you can either attend. I doubt if I'll be there, but I may send Shirley a note and let her know that, that I'm interested. And good on you, Sandra, I'm glad you're going. I would have liked somebody to go, so.
Or just through Red River North Tourism, it's
Yes.
part of their holiday
Yeah,
alley.
yeah, so, yeah, and you know what, if I decide to go, then I will go, and that's next Sunday, right? No, this Sunday,
This Sunday.
this Sunday. Okay, I'll see how my week goes, and if I choose to go, I'll just go, and then we can get a resolution after, if that's okay with everybody. Okay.
And just to let you know too, that it's a small area at the, and
I
I
know.
thought of this too of going, that they're asking people, but we are having a meeting and I am gonna ask the question at it, that in a closed-in area, are you restricted to how, again, I'm double vaxxed too, but you do think of these things of going into
Well, that's
different
right,
areas with
and-
the public now.
Right, and the Riverside Grill is a small
Mhm.
space, it's not very big at all.
Like
They
maybe
had
it's
it
a
there
come and
last
go.
time. They had it there last time I
Yeah.
went to it. Gary was there too.
I don't know if it's a come and go, it
Yeah,
looks as if it's at 6:30, so to me it looks like it's more
More
of
of
a
a
meeting kind of a thing, you know, what you would like to see it celebrating its fifth year of local art, sound, light, and creativity, so.
You know, and they had a holiday alley was virtual last year too, right?
That's
So-
right, yeah, so, and I think everybody is hoping that it can be, some of it at least in person, you know, like I know the fireworks display and the dance on the street and all that was really good the last time they had an in-person event, and I know I enjoyed the couple of years that they did have it and I was able to attend, so hopefully we'll be able to have that part in person, so. Deepak, if I could have a resolution for Holiday Alley, please.
Resolved that Councillor Sandra Strang be authorized to attend the Holiday Alley Think Tank on Sunday, September 19th, 2021 in Sacramento.
Can I have a mover, please? Councillor Bazarowicz, Councillor Spicer seconds. Any discussion? Hearing and seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, opposed, and that is carried. Okay, 5.6, AMM, and that is our 2021 Fall Convention. And there again, they are trying to have an in-person event, and it looks as if they've moved it from Brandon to Winnipeg, because Brandon couldn't accommodate them for this year. So there again, it's going to be, or they're going to try have an in-person event. So any other comments, Deepak?
Yes, Madam Mayor,
Thank
on
you.
this one specifically, there will be proof of double vaccination required, as well as face coverings, and they are looking at, I'm not sure how that works, contactless networking.
And they want to limit,
Right,
at least
public
I
health.
thought I read that. They
Yes,
wanna
I'm just-
limit the number per
It's right at the
council.
bottom of the first page, Deepak, you just scrolled past it.
50% of, well,
That's
no,
it.
actually, it doesn't say how many from a council could go.
No, I guess I read it kind of like, okay, if you get your registration in, or you say how many are going, the way it reads is, oh, do you have it right at the bottom of that page there, Deepak? The public health orders allow RBC Convention Center to operate at 50% capacity. Thus, a limit on the number of delegates per municipality will be in place, but it doesn't say
Doesn't
anywhere
say
how
how
many. So,
Which may be there's a reason,
How
because we
much
don't
is
know
it?
if it's gonna change, right? So,
What's the cost for this?
I don't think they put a
They
cost
haven't determined cost at this point.
No, I-
somewhere between $200 and $300.
Yeah,
per person.
usually, yeah, and it's a 2-day event, and it's normally like 3.
Yeah.
So they've cut back on,
Used to be 4.
yeah, the length of time, so, I guess I would suggest that whoever is interested in going, put their name forward, and if things change, then we'll have to adjust as we go, so. Okay, I do have a resolution up on the screen there. Scott, you weren't, or you're kind of on the fence, because we can bring it back.
I'm not sure whether I want to.
Okay, see, and actually Councillor Belanger isn't here either, so that may, have a bearing too.
Didn't we all go? Was not last year, the year before? I remember you went, Dave. Didn't you guys get hotel rooms or something?
No.
Somebody did, no?
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
I never did, but I mean, I was, yeah, that's the, I remember going to that one. And that's all different rooms, like and
Yeah,
different things.
Yeah,
Well, it's pretty
different,
good, actually.
different sessions and things like that,
The
so.
government's there, like they're telling
Yeah.
you policy and that
Right.
kind of stuff.
Yeah, you can, well, it used to be that you could book a slot with whichever minister you wanted to, and I don't know, maybe this year it will be a little different. I don't know what's gonna happen with everything that's going on in our provincial government, so. Anyways, I think we'll read the rest, go.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
May I suggest that we come back to this one as well after in-camera discussion, because I think it may be related with infrastructure.
Okay, okay. Go ahead,
No,
Councilor
I can
Spicer.
make-
You're good? Okay. All right, so we're finished, I believe, the communications for action. So I would like to take a 5-minute break if we could.